Hi, a very good morning. I am Lakshminarayana Gunta, PGT in Zoology at APMS and Junior College Karvanja, and also working as NEET Super 60 Zoology faculty at Dupulvalsa, Srikakulam. Today we are going to discuss the peripheral neural system. For each and every topic, I have provided an online exam which you can observe in the description box below my video. A link will be provided to you below every video. Okay. As you know, the neural system, it consists of central neural system and the peripheral neural system. The central neural system, it consists of brain and the spinal cord. We have discussed about this brain and spinal cord in our earlier segments. Today we are going to discuss this peripheral neural system. This peripheral neural system, it consists of the cranial nerves arising from the brain and the spinal nerves arising from the spinal cord. Okay, these cranial nerves, they are 12 pairs in number, whereas the spinal nerves, they are 31 pairs in number. Total of 43 pairs of nerves are included in this peripheral neural system. Okay, let us now start with this cranial nerves. The cranial nerves, they arise directly from the brain and they are 12 pairs in number, out of which 10 pairs they emerge from the brainstem. Okay, brainstem, it includes the pons, medulla and the midbrain. All these three are there. Midbrain, pons and the medulla. These three, they are included in the brainstem. Okay, 10 pairs of nerves, they arise from the brainstem, and the first two pairs, that is the olfactory nerves and the optic nerves, they arise from the cerebrum. And all these nerves, they pass through this foramina, which is the foramina of the skull. Okay, this one is the foramina of the skull. Okay, na? And out of these cranial nerves, some are sensory nerves, some are mixed nerves, and some are motor nerves. Okay, and some cranial nerves are sensory nerves, means they are responsible for bringing the sensory impulses from the body to the brain, from the body to the brain. As they are bringing in sensory impulses from the body, they are also called as afferent nerves. Afferent nerves, the first, second and the eighth pairs of nerves are sensory nerves. 1, 2, 8 are sensory nerves, and remember, always these cranial nerves, they are numbered using the Roman letters. These nerves, they are numbered from top to bottom. The pair of nerves which are present on the top, they are numbered 1, and the next one is second pair, and similarly this is the 12th cranial nerve. And these cranial nerves, they carry sensory impulses from the receptors to the central nervous system. Okay, na? And coming to the second type of nerves, they are motor nerves. These motor nerves, they carry motor impulses from the central nervous system to the effector organs. These motor nerves, as they are exiting, as they are coming out of the brain, they are called as efferent nerve. E for exit. These efferent nerves are motor nerves. They are 3rd, 4th, 6th, 11th and the 12th nerves. They are motor nerves. Okay, they carry impulses from the central nervous system to the effector organs. Okay, na? Remaining all nerves, they are mixed nerves. They carry both the sensory impulses from the receptors to the central nervous system and also motor impulses from the central nervous system to the effector organs. Okay, they are called as mixed nerves. They are 5th, 7th, 9th and 10th cranial nerves. They are mixed nerves. Okay, na? This one is the 5th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve, and the 7th nerve, facial nerve, and the 9th and 10th nerves, they are all mixed nerves, means they have both sensory and motor neurons in them. Okay, na? And these cranial nerves, they have individual names, and in order to remember all these names, all the names of these 12 pairs of cranial nerves, there is an acronym, that is OOO. To take a family vacation, go Vizag and Hyderabad. This is the acronym to remember all the 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Let us observe what are they. O. First three O's. The olfactory, optic and the oculomotor. And out of these three O's, which O comes first? In order to remember that also, there is one more trick. Take your palm and if you touch your face, what is the organ that touches your palm? The nose. Nose is meant for olfaction, sense of smell. That's why this one is the olfactory nerve. If you press some more, your eyes touches next. Okay, that's eyes means they are responsible for vision. That is why they are optic nerves. Optic nerves are responsible for vision. And the third one is oculomotor. Okay, O. To take a family. The trochlea, which is also called as the pathetic nerve, is the fourth cranial nerve, and the trigeminal is the fifth cranial nerve. There is again a little bit confusion between these two. Which one comes first? Okay, taking all these three O's as a single unit, then the second is trochlea and automatically the third is trigeminal. Tri means three. Means that's why the trigeminal comes at the third position after these three O's. Okay, and to take a family, A for abducens, the sixth cranial nerve, and family, the facial, the seventh cranial nerve, and vacation, V for vestibulocochlear, the eighth cranial nerve. Go, Vizag and Hyderabad. G for glossopharyngeal, that's the ninth cranial nerve. And again there is a little bit confusion between the eighth and 10th cranial nerve. In order to remember it, the 10th cranial nerve is the vagus nerve, which travels the longest distance of all the nerves. Okay, that's why automatically the eighth one is the vestibulocochlear nerve. Okay, the 11th cranial nerve is accessory, which is also called as the spinal accessory, and the 12th cranial nerve is hypoglossal. Out of these 12 pairs of cranial nerves, some are sensory and some are motor, and remaining are mixed nerves. In order to remember these 12 cranial nerves, which one is the sensory and which one is the motor, there is one more acronym, that is, some say marry money, but my brother says big brains matter more. Some say marry money, a girl with lot of money, which gives us more comforts. But my brother always says that big brains, a girl with good thinking, it matters more than money. Here, S indicates the sensory, M indicates the motor nerves, and B indicates both, means both sensory and motor nerves. Let us discuss what are the sensory nerves and what are the mixed nerves. The first nerve is olfactory nerve, is a sensory nerve. So the second one is say, means sensory, again sensory. Optic nerve. The third one is oculomotor, means the motor nerve. Trochlea is again a motor nerve, and the fifth nerve is the trigeminal, which is the largest nerve, which is a mixed nerve. Okay, which is the largest cranial nerve is a mixed nerve. It is mixed nerve. And similarly, the sixth cranial nerve is the abducens, is a motor nerve, and the seventh one is the facial nerve, is again a mixed nerve, and the eighth one is vestibulocochlear nerve, which is a sensory nerve. Ninth cranial nerve is a glossopharyngeal nerve, it is a mixed nerve, and 10th one is again a mixed nerve. Big brains means brain, B for both, is a mixed nerve, and the 11th and 12th both are motor nerves. Out of these nerves, the sensory nerves are 3 in number. What are they? 1, 2, 8. The olfactory, optic and vestibulocochlear, they are sensory nerves. 3, 4, 6, oculomotor, trochlea, abducens, accessory and hypoglossal, they are all motor nerves. They are 5 in number. Whereas the remaining, they are mixed nerves. They are 4 in number. 3 sensory nerves, 4 mixed nerves and 5 motor nerves. Okay. And let us discuss all these things one by one. The first one is olfactory nerves. They begin at the cerebrum in the olfactory lobe or olfactory bulb. They receive sensory impulses pertaining to the sense of smell from the olfactory epithelium present in the nose. They are responsible for the sense of smell. Okay, the function is the sense of smell. Here you can observe first pair of nerves, they are olfactory nerves. Their origin is olfactory lobe or olfactory bulb, and they receive nerves from this olfactory epithelium which is present in the olfactory part of the nose. We can feel the fragrance of rose or a jasmine, all these because of the olfactory epithelium which is present in the olfactory part of the nose. These olfactory nerves, they carry sensory impulses to the olfactory lobe or olfactory bulb. Okay. Coming to the second pair of nerves, they are optic nerves. These optic nerves, they begin at the optic lobe of the midbrain. Okay, here you can observe these two. They are optic nerves. Okay. These optic nerves, they receive sensory impulses from the retina of the eye, and their function is the vision. Okay, here in this picture you can clearly observe these optic nerves, they receive sensory impulses from the retina of the eye. That's why they are responsible for the sense of sight. When they receive, the right one, it reaches the left lobe, and the left one, it reaches the right lobe. That's why they form a crossing called as the optic chiasma. Here you can observe this optic chiasma. We will discuss about this optic chiasma while studying the structure of an eye. Okay. Coming to the third pair of nerves, they are oculomotor nerves. They origin at the floor of the midbrain. Except the first two pairs of nerves, the remaining 10 pairs of nerves, they originate from the brainstem. This oculomotor nerve, it originates from the floor of the midbrain. One more point I have forgotten. In fishes and amphibians, there are 10 pairs of cranial nerves, whereas in higher vertebrates, which are also called as the amniotes, the number of cranial nerves are 12 pairs. Means reptiles, birds and mammals, they have 12 pairs of cranial nerves, whereas the fishes and amphibians, they have only 10 pairs of cranial nerves. Okay. These oculomotor nerves, they supply nerves to the four muscles of the eyeball. Okay. What are the four muscles? They are superior rectus muscles, inferior rectus muscles, and the medial rectus muscles, and also the inferior oblique muscles. Superior, inferior and medial rectus muscles, and also the inferior oblique muscles. Inferior oblique muscles. That means these oculomotor nerves, they supply nerves to almost all the muscles of the eyeball except the superior oblique muscles and the lateral rectus muscles, as they also supply nerves to iris and also the ciliary muscles. That's why they are also responsible for the iris, lens, eyelids, and also the constriction of the pupil. This one is the pupil, constriction of the pupil. Okay, means these oculomotor nerves, they move our eyes up, down, this side, that side. Okay, and the constriction of the eyeball. The next one is a trochlear nerve, which is also called as pathetic nerve. Again, it is a motor nerve. This trochlear nerve or the pathetic nerve is the smallest nerve in terms of axons, and it has the longest intracranial root. Smallest nerve in terms of axons and has the highest intracranial root. Okay, and this nerve, it originates from the floor of the midbrain. Again, it also originates from the floor of the midbrain, and it distributes the nerves to the superior oblique muscles. Here you can observe the superior oblique muscles. These are superior oblique muscles. As it supplies nerves to the superior oblique muscles, motor nerves to the superior oblique muscles, they are responsible for the rotation of eyeball. That's why their function is rotation of eyeball. And the fifth nerve is the most important nerve and the largest nerve, which is the trigeminal nerve. It is also called as the dentist's nerve. Dentist's nerve. It has three branches. That's why it is called as trigeminal. Tri means three. And one more important point about this trigeminal nerve is it originates from the pons varoli. The only nerve which arises exclusively from the pons varoli is the trigeminal nerve, and it is the largest nerve, and it is also called as the dentist's nerve. Okay, and it is again a mixed nerve. This one is the trigeminal nerve. As we already have discussed, this trigeminal nerve, it has three zones. This one is the ophthalmic zone, the maxillary zone, and the mandibular zone. That means this trigeminal nerve, it has three branches: the ophthalmic branch, the maxillary branch, and the mandibular branch. Let us observe the functions of these three branches. The first one, the ophthalmic zone. This branch, it supplies the nerves. It supplies the forehead, the frontal region, the upper eyelids, and also the nose. Whereas the second one, the maxillary zone, it supplies nerves to the cheeks, the lower eyelids, the palate, and the upper lip. The ophthalmic nerve and the maxillary nerve, which supplies nerves to ophthalmic zone and the maxillary zone, they are sensory nerves. Whereas the mandibular nerve, which supplies nerves to the mandibular zone, is a motor nerve. In this trigeminal nerve, it has two sensory nerves and one motor nerve. That's why it is called as a mixed nerve. Okay. Mandibular nerve, it supplies nerves to tongue and also the jaw, lower jaw, etc. That's why the functions include tongue movement and mastication. Most particularly, this mandibular nerve is called as the dentist nerve. Okay, which is a branch of a trigeminal nerve. Okay, coming to the sixth cranial nerve, that is the abducens nerve. It originates from the lateral sides of the medulla. You can observe this one is the abducens nerve, a pair of abducens nerves. Okay, and these abducens nerves, they are motor nerves. They supply nerves to the lateral rectus muscles, and their function is rotation of the eyeball. This one is the lateral rectus muscle. Lateral rectus muscle. The third pair of cranial nerves, they supply nerves to the superior, inferior, lateral rectus muscles and also inferior oblique muscles. Okay. Whereas the fourth pair of cranial nerves, they supply nerves to the superior oblique muscles. This sixth pair of cranial nerves, they supply nerves to lateral rectus muscles. That means third, fourth and sixth pairs of cranial nerves, they are responsible for the movement of eyeball, movement and rotation of eyeball. The function of this abducens nerve is the rotation of eyeball. These are also responsible for the rotation of eyeball. Okay, along with the fourth pair of cranial nerves. And coming to the seventh pair of cranial nerves, that is the facial nerves. Facial, the name itself indicates it supplies nerves to the face region. And the origin of this pair of cranial nerves is the side and floor of medulla oblongata. This one is the facial nerve, and it supplies nerves to the 2/3 of the anterior portion of the tongue. Anterior portion of the tongue and taste buds, muscles of the face, neck, and the salivary glands. Okay, here you can observe in this picture clearly the facial nerves. Okay, as they are supplying nerves to the face muscles, that's why they are responsible for the facial expressions and chewing movements and movements of the neck. Okay, and the eighth pair of cranial nerves, which are also called as the auditory nerves or acoustic nerves or vestibulocochlear nerves. Again, they are sensory nerves. 1, 2, 8 pairs of nerves are sensory nerves. 1, 2, the olfactory optic nerves, they are sensory nerves. Along with them, the eighth pair of cranial nerve is also a sensory nerve, which is a vestibulocochlear nerve or auditory nerve or acoustic nerve. It originates from the lateral side of the medulla. And this one is the vestibulocochlear nerve. Okay, the eighth pair of cranial nerve. And this vestibulocochlear nerve, it is again having two branches, the vestibular nerve and the cochlear nerve. Here you can observe the cochlear nerve and the vestibular nerve. Means this vestibulocochlear nerve, it receives sensory impulses from the three semicircular canals by vestibular nerve and from what spring shaped cochlea through cochlear nerve. Okay na? And the main function of this vestibulocochlear or auditory nerve is to hearing and maintaining equilibrium or balance. Okay, the nerve which is responsible for hearing and maintaining the body balance is the auditory nerve or vestibulocochlear nerve. Okay, and the nerve which is responsible for facial expressions is seventh cranial nerve, facial nerve. And the nerves which are responsible for rotation of eyeball is trochlear and abducens. The nerves which are responsible for the movement of eyes up and down, sideward movements, these are all by the third pair of nerves, the oculomotor nerve. Okay, And the ninth pair of cranial nerves are glossopharyngeal nerves, which are responsible for the salivation, swallowing, and taste. And they originate from the lateral side of the medulla. And this one is the ninth cranial nerve, the glossopharyngeal nerve. This glossopharyngeal nerve, it distributes the nerves to the posterior one-third portion, means anterior one-third portion it is supplied by the seventh cranial nerve, the facial nerve, which is also responsible for the taste. And similarly, this glossopharyngeal nerve also, it supplies the nerves to a posterior one-third portion of the tongue and the mucous membrane and also the muscles of the pharynx. Okay, as it is supplying nerves to the muscles of the pharynx, it is responsible for the movement, that is the swallowing. And as it is supplying nerves to the posterior one-third portion of the tongue, it is responsible for taste and movements of pharynx and also for the salivation. That's why it is a mixed nerve. Okay. Coming to the 10th nerve, which is the most important nerve, and it is called as the wandering nerve. The only cranial nerve which supplies the nerves to visceral organs below the neck, which travels the longest distance. It originates from the lateral side and the floor of the medulla. Here you can observe this one is the vagus nerve. It supplies nerves to muscles of the pharynx, vocal cords, heart, lungs, and esophagus, stomach, etc. All these parts. Okay, and its function is swallowing, peristaltic movements of the esophagus, and also the intestinal movements. All these are because of the 10th cranial nerve, and that's why it is called as a wandering nerve. And the 11th pair of cranial nerves are spinal accessory or accessory nerves, which are again motor nerves. They origin from the lateral side of the medulla and they distribute the nerves to the muscles of palate, vocal cords, pharynx, larynx, neck and shoulders. Okay, and the function of these nerves is the movement of muscles of the neck, shoulder and also the larynx, pharynx, etc. And coming to the last nerve, the hypoglossal nerve, which is again a motor nerve. It originates from the ventral side of the medulla, and this one is the hypoglossal nerve, which is the 12th pair of cranial nerves, which is a motor nerve. It supplies the nerves to the muscles of the tongue, and as it is a motor nerve, it is responsible for the movement of the tongue. Okay, na? And this finishes our topic, the cranial nerves. Let me finish this session with a few questions. The first one is, which one of the following cranial nerves arise from the pons proper of the brainstem? The first one is trochlear nerve, the fourth pair of cranial nerve, the trigeminal nerve, the fifth pair of cranial nerve, and the vagus nerve, the 10th pair of cranial nerve, and the hypoglossal nerve, the 12th pair of cranial nerve. What is your option? Right? Trigeminal nerve is the right option, which arises from the pons proper of the brainstem. Okay. And coming to the second question, which of the following nerves are responsible for the rotation of the eyeball? The first one is option is cranial nerve 3, means oculomotor nerve. Cranial number 4, the trochlear, the abducens, all the above. Which one of the following cranial nerves they are responsible for the movement and rotation of eyeball? Both movement and rotation of eyeball. What is your option? Right? All the above are right option, because the third cranial nerve, it is responsible for the movement of eyeball from up to down and sidewards. Fourth and sixth cranial nerves, they are responsible for the rotation of eyeballs. Okay, the question is movement and rotation of eyeballs. That's why all the above are right. Okay, and third question, the last question is, which of the following cranial nerves is responsible for hearing and balance? The options are third, fourth, sixth and eighth. What is your option? Right? Vestibulocochlear nerve, the eighth pair of cranial nerve, the auditory nerve, also called as the auditory nerve or the acoustic nerve, is responsible for hearing and balance. Okay. Thank you very much for watching, and follow me on YouTube simply by typing Lakshmi Narayana Gunta. Okay, thank you.